The Walker Cup has been a prestigious trophy contested by the top performing teams in Jamaica schoolboy football's urban area. In the past, it was fiercely competed for by the Georges and the Kingston colleges of the world, both winning the most times. It is a significant accolade that distinguishes these schoolboy football powerhouses and rivals. However, recent changes to the competition have altered its dynamic. Currently, the Walker Cup serves as a consolation tournament for teams that did not progress to the semi-finals of the Manning Cup. Consequently, it has acquired the unfortunate nickname of the Losers Cup. This transformation has relegated what was once a jewel, another major competition, and a significant milestone towards schoolboy football success, to a less prestigious status. Even schools like Meadowbrook, my alma mater, which are less renowned for football, can no longer celebrate beating the top teams and winning the Walker Cup. The decision makers involved have done a disservice to the esteemed history of this competition, insulting and tarnishing its legacy. Although the recent changes have led to a few unexpected winners who may not have been as fortunate under previous rules, it has also tainted the competition's prestige and credibility, in my opinion. However, it is not too late to rectify the situation. I am your host, Jomar, and today we'll be discussing how we can fix the Walker Cup. Defending champions, Tivoli High School will be aiming to retain their title in this year's cup, despite their disappointing performance in the quarterfinal group, where they failed to secure a single point. Truth be told, they were outclassed and outmatched in their Manning Cup quarterfinals group. And although they fought valiantly, advancing in the Manning Cup beyond the quarterfinals for them was a slim possibility. Historically, Tivoli would have still qualified for the Walker Cup by securing a round of 16 berth. However, their chances wouldn't be as favourable in previous years, as they would likely face one of the potential semi-finalists, putting their title defence at risk of an unfortunate end. Fortunately, with the current format, they may find their chances improved, since the four best performing teams up to this point of schoolboy football urban area will not participate in the Walker Cup. While this may be beneficial for Tivoli and other schools competing in the Walker Cup, it does undermine the historical significance of the tournament as mentioned in the introduction. And obviously, today at the point of recording, Tivoli would have already been eliminated, and two surprise finalists have made it to the Walker Cup. But under regular circumstances, based on these new rules, Stats and JC would not have been in the Walker Cup finals, but this has been a crazy year. But people, before we can fix the competition, it is crucial to understand what caused its breakdown in the first place. The introduction of the Champions Cup, formerly known as the Super Cup, created a buzz in schoolboy football. This competition pitted the best teams from the rural area against the top teams from the urban area, aiming to capitalize on the concentration of top schools, their strong support base, and to generate more revenue while attracting a larger audience for sponsors. It was a stroke of brilliance, in my opinion. Instead of contending for the prestigious Triple Crown, comprised of the Manning Cup, Walker Cup, and Olivia Shield, there was a new shiny fourth trophy up for grabs for the urban area schools. It was magnificent and initially worked well. However, a recent change prevented the very best teams from winning the urban area competition, the Walker Cup. The recited reason for this change were COVID-related concern and a desire to reduce fixtures and fixture congestion for the players and to reduce player workload. Despite these issues, I believe it is still feasible for the boys to compete in four competitions. And my solution would only add a small number of games to the calendar, strategically scheduled at various points throughout the season. This solution would draw inspiration from the original Walker Cup format, while incorporating a more European-centric domestic cup competition feel, bringing more excitement to the early stages of the season and adding further drama to the overall campaign. This is my proposed solution, people. Firstly, every team that enters the Manning Cup would also enter the Walker Cup. This significant change would add a dramatic element to the competition. Teams would be seeded based on their last year's performance, which is a thing that we see right now for Manning Cup second round seeding. And the top 16 teams from last season would receive a bye in the first round of the Walker Cup. And we see this in the FA Cup where the top teams, in the Premier League, they don't come in until later rounds in the FA Cup. This would allow smaller teams to have at least one cup game against relatively smaller competition, increasing the chances for upsets. Additionally, considering that top teams are more likely to play deeper in the season, this format, allowing the top teams to get a bye, would allow those teams to ultimately play fewer games. For this year's Manning Cup, for example, there was a total of 48 teams. So the top 16 teams from the previous season would automatically advance to the Walker Cup second round, leaving the other 32 teams to compete against each other. The matchup for this round could be determined by either a random draw based on last year's seedings from 17 to 48. A random draw, or it could be based on last year's seeding from 17 to 48. The cup games could be scheduled on designated days throughout the season with a total of 6 rounds. The cup games could be scheduled on designated days throughout the season with a total of 6 rounds. The cup games could be scheduled on designated days throughout the season with a total of 6 rounds. To fix this year's Walker Cup, the first set of cup games would be played the week before the opening of the Manning Cup season, featuring teams seeded 17 to 48 from the previous year in the competition. The second round of the Walker Cup would take place after the completion of the first leg of fixtures in the Manning Cup, where the top teams would be introduced. After this round, the competition would be narrowed to 16 teams, and the third round of matches would be played right before the conclusion of the first round of the Manning Cup. After this third round is completed, it would align with the completion of the preliminary round in the Manning Cup, leaving the Walker Cup quarterfinals and the Manning Cup round of 16 ready to go. This revised format would change the landscape of schoolboy football in the urban area, with some schools that failed to qualify for the Manning Cup round of 16 still fighting for the Walker Cup, potentially creating Cinderella runs. Meanwhile, bigger teams would be aiming to secure the Manning Cup quarterfinal berth and Champions Cup qualification, which would add an element of gamesmanship, squad rotation, and coach prioritizing, adding even more drama. For example, we could witness a scenario where, let's say, a Jonathan Grant team finishes third in their Manning Cup zone, not managing to qualify for the Manning Cup round of 16. But narrowly winning their first 3 Walker Cup matches and qualifying for the Walker Cup quarterfinals. And let's say they ended up playing against a Mona, an aspiring Manning Cup champion. Mona might decide to then rotate their squad in the Walker Cup quarterfinals, giving Jonathan Grant a chance to continue their fairy tale run. The quarterfinal round would be played a couple of days before the Manning Cup quarterfinals, with all the games up to this point being hosted by the higher seeded team from the previous season. The semi-final and the final would obviously be played at neutral venues, most likely Stadium East, similar to what we've seen in the current format. While the schoolboy football calendar may become slightly more congested, just a little bit, towards the late stages of the tournament, special provisions can be made, and has been made, as we've seen this season, due to weather conditions. The Manning Cup semi-final and Champions Cup could be spaced out a bit more to accommodate the Walker Cup semi-finals and finals, which could be played over a 3-day period. And there you have it. After all that, a new Walker Cup champion is crowned, restoring the prestige and integrity to the Cup, once again allowing teams like KC and Georges and JC to etch their name on the trophy. No longer will it be regarded as a loser's cup, as it is now regarded, but now it requires true winning to claim the title. While paying homage to its rich history, the cup has undergone a reinvention, providing even the smallest schools with an opportunity to compete against the giants. for cup supremacy. This solution only adds a few more games of football, but brings a wealth of additional drama. Truly, this is how we fix the Walker Cup.